What is going on, everybody? Another post-game overreaction show here at UGAsports.com, joined by Roddy in the car. I am your host, Paul Meharry. It is a big day in Athens, 43-6. The Bulldogs take down the Missouri Tigers. Tigers tried to get a little touchdown there at the end, Roddy. They asked Kirby about it after the game, and he seemed pleased. He said that they didn't give up their I don't want to say the wrong thing. They met their scoring goal, I think, or giving up points goal, something along those lines. So I'm guessing it was probably like 7 is what their goal was at, and they were able to keep the Tigers underneath that.
Yeah, I think they just didn't want to give up a touchdown. I mean, this is yet another week with the Dogs not giving up a TD through the air or through the ground. It's a point of pride for that defense. The second team just as much as the first team. And I mean, you're getting your butt kicked by 34 points or something like that. You're calling timeouts. It's just, there ain't a 35-point touchdown play that you can call. Just take the loss like a man, get out of there. And here's the thing. I understand, Paul, you and I, when we played ball, it was always, hey, fight to the last second, never give up. Yep. But guys get hurt in this game.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, because, the fan in me wanted to be like, hey, put the first team out there. I'm sure everybody in the stadium was like, put the first team back out there and put Trayvon Walker back out there and make sure they don't score. And then you're like, hold up. This touchdown, while it's great to keep Missouri off of the board in terms of touchdowns, right? You would much rather walk out of there with having Jordan Davis and those guys healthy. There's no question. Kirby would have given up that touchdown 10 times out of 10 to keep those guys on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, you're already down 2 5-stars this week. You were without Adam Anderson. You're without Jamari Sawyer. The last thing you need is to have somebody else. And you're just now seeing the effects of getting back a Jermaine Burton. Get Jermaine Burton back. Guy could have had three TDs today. And this nothing against A.D. Mitchell, but if I read the stat chart right, he was targeted 7 times. He had 3 catches, but it looked like they credited him with 4 drops. I remember 2.
Let's see here. Yeah. 3 catches, 4 drops for A.D. Mitchell. I'm going to bring in Ben Bachman. He's with us here, Roddy. Get Ben's take while you're driving, give you some time to look at the road. But, yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Who needs the road? It's Athens traffic. I mean, it's
yeah, true. Yeah,
glorious.
Ben,
but see, my point is, go ahead.
Let's see, Ben, your mic's muted there, Ben. So if you want to talk.
All right, can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. What's going on?
All right, so I think this game, the number one thing is I think some people are going to crap all over the run game. When you load the box with 8 guys, they had more. I mean, they just had more numbers on you. So that's probably the main reason why your run game. The main issue for Georgia in this game was the O-line. A.D. Mitchell had some drops, but I think the main story, I think Stetson looked good, but I think Jermaine Burton's got to be the big story because I told Roddy, I think a few weeks ago, that the biggest disappointment was I thought this guy might have hit 1,000 yards with Pickens out, and he's been hurt, and then they finally use him today, and he goes off. So that's great for the offense. And I think that the only way that you can fully stop Georgia is if you have a really solid 4-man front, that you don't need extra guys to shut down Georgia's run game or shut down the pass game, because honestly, if you load the box, Georgia now with their outside receivers healthy can beat you. So, I think this was actually a really good day for Georgia all around. Obviously, Missouri's terrible, and Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. There's nothing more than that.
Yeah. Roddy, what's your take on the offensive line? I know you're driving. I don't want to get you too distracted here, but the offensive line to me, obviously, with losing Salyer, I didn't see a huge drop-off between Broderick, Jones, and Salyer. I was trying to look for it throughout the game. I didn't see a ton of drop-off. Obviously, there's going to be some with Salyer being such a veteran presence there, but just the run game didn't get going, and it was almost like Drinkwitz wanted Georgia to pass. He was daring Georgia to pass. He had the worst run defense in the absolute country. There's no worse defense for run defense in the country. They put that stat up on ESPN. and they dared him to pass, and Georgia was like, all right, well, shit, we'll pass the ball, and that's what they did. I mean, I think that you can have some concern.
Remember,
there,
Arkansas did the same thing with the run. They were rushing 3, like we're going to drop back 8, so you can't throw the ball. And Georgia's like, okay, well, we do have these stable of 5-star tailbacks and a great offensive line. Maybe we'll run the ball and see what happens, and you just ran it down their throat. So.
I'm trying to tweet this out here so we can get some more folks in here. Everybody, thank you for joining us. If you want to join us in the description of the YouTube video, there is a link there. You can click on that link, and then that will bring you into our show. You'll be in the waiting room. You can either be on with your camera, which we'd love to see your man cave. We'd love to see your woman cave, whichever cave you have down there where you're Ben, don't take that. Yeah.
Not that type of show.
Yeah, Ben, don't go there. Okay, I'm trying to be inclusive to everybody, and Ben starts laughing here. Let me see your man cave then. Jeez, Lord. All right, here we go. Starting off great. We're 6 minutes into the show. We're already demonetized. Thanks, Ben. But damn it, where was I going with this?
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Oh shit, we're gonna cry.
Yeah, you can call into the show, man. If you don't want to be on video and show us your woman cave, then you can just call in with audio.
Hey,
and
can we do super chats the other way?
Yeah, right. Speaking of super chats, man. Golly, man, I can't. Oh God. Whew. All right, come back down. Come back in, boys. Bring it in. Let me see here. We missed a super chat last week from Omari Carmichael, and we apologize. I tried to get it into the show, man. I just couldn't. We were having a really big debate against JT and Stetson, and I didn't want to cut off Ben with his great takes, so I did not do that. Instead, we want to talk about it now. And his question was, guys, let's see, where was it? He just wanted to know, would Mims or Brock ever take over a spot? And it's almost like he had wishful thinking, because we saw Broderick. We saw Broderick take over that left tackle spot today, and then Mims come in at right tackle. So my take on that, obviously Salyer's leaving next year. Broderick probably slides into that left tackle spot. McClendon's got that right tackle spot on lock unless you do some moving around. Mims is not a guy where it's kind of like a Tate Ratledge where he came in as a tackle. You can move him to guard. I don't see Mims doing that. I don't see McClendon moving inside. So Mims might have to wait one more year, but it looks like Broderick's got that left tackle spot.
Next year? I think left guard's going to be the biggest competition next year, because I think Tate's going to be one of the guards. I think, like you said, Broderick or Mims will be the left tackle. McClendon will be probably right tackle. He'll probably come back. Center would be Von Prawn, so it would probably be one of the guard spots. I don't know if Erickson necessarily locks it up or what his deal is, because he's been here 4 years. So I think it's a left guard's the one if you're looking at next year.
Mims isn't sitting out a year. He will take somebody's job.
You think so? Because we said that.
All right. I know so.
We said
this player lineman to come to Georgia in the past 10 years. 20.
We've said,
Paul, I'm admitting that I agree with Roddy.
we said the same thing though last time about Broderick Jones potentially taking over from McClendon, and he didn't. So is just Mims a different player? And this is another year where – did you just run over a child, Roddy? Are you okay?
I'm just saying, Mims,
that was
Mims
a huge
is
bump.
Than anybody. Oh, dude, we use stupid speed humps in my neighborhood.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure everybody was all right over there. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
I try to catch air on each one.
You're getting it. You're going to catch air or lose air in your tires. One.
Hey, look. A tricycle. Let's see if I can get a little clip here on this kid. No, that's not.
Yeah,
we got one more to go. But no, I think Mims is lights out. So I just do not see him sitting another year. And don't get me wrong, McClendon's good, but when you have all spring to go out there and fight for a spot, and you know what you're doing, which Broderick Jones and Mims were kind of new. I see quite the shakeup on the O-line next year. My bigger question is what's going to happen on the D-line, because you're going to get a lot of parts there. You got to refill.
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of parts there. Hey, Roddy, I'm going to remove you from the show and bring Dane in so you can get into your house safely and then join back up with us, yeah?
Yep, that's perfect.
Sounds good. See you. Dane Young with us, not driving. We appreciate that. Dane, Roddy was in some predicaments there.
Well, it's just like me coming to save Roddy's butt all the time.
Yep, all the time. 43-6. Dane, you were able to watch it with Coach Donnan today, as always, with our watch-along show. We appreciate you guys watching along with us on the YouTubes and the Facebooks, and I think we're on Twitter today too, yeah, for a little while at least.
At least on Roddy's Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So congrats on, multi-platform Dane Young over here, taking time out of his day to come join us. We just love it. 43-6, Dane, as we do every show. Initial thoughts, concerns, overreactions, if you will.
Thought it was a good game for Georgia. I thought it was expected. Missouri's got a lot of issues. Probably, one of the things some fans, I'm sure, would be upset about is slow starts, I guess. Although this wasn't nearly as bad as with the first few minutes were against Florida. I think you have to like what you see most specifically from Georgia's wide receivers. Helping out on some passes that were inaccurate. Some solid blocking. Still some drops out there. A.D. Mitchell didn't have his greatest game. Brock Bowers is still a monster. I thought Jermaine Burton had his best game of the season. I mean, I know he hasn't played much because he was injured, but seeing that reminded me, oh, yeah, that's what this guy can do. This is what he did last year too. But even I thought Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint had 2 or 3 fine moments that emerged. And regardless of what Georgia's deal is at quarterback, and I'm sure that's half of the topic on this show for the rest of this, the receivers playing to that degree is going to be massively helpful.
I'll tell you what, Dane. I ended the show last week. You probably didn't watch it, and I don't take any I don't lose any sleep.
I watch everything you do, Paul.
I know. All the whole 2 hours. I know you did, but if you missed it, you might have. But I'm sure you're watching. At the end of the show, I said, hey, look, I think JT Daniels should be the starter. I don't know, man. I still kind of want to ride that train a little bit, but Stetson looked really good today. He had 2 touchdown passes. He should have had 4. Let's be honest. The 2 to Burton should have been his. So he should have had 4 touchdown passes today. Had Burton not fell down at the half-yard line both times. And now we're starting to see Burton back. We're starting to see Arian Smith caught a touchdown today. We're starting to see some of those Georgia wide receivers, and it lessens the, I guess, I can't think of the word, lessens the, I can't even think of the word, on Stetson Bennett. It lessens the load, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It lessens the load on Stetson Bennett to perform at such a high level. He's got wide receivers now that can truly get open. Not saying the other guys couldn't, but Jermaine Burton and Arian Smith are, pretty damn good. You get back at George Pickens, you start moving the ball in the right way. It doesn't really matter who you have at quarterback if Stetson's making those throws.
I think with Georgia at quarterback, my primary frustration this whole time, it's certain fans and not everyone, is that everyone was trying to speak in absolutes. Clearly this is the case, or clearly this person is better than, it's obviously close. They do things differently. Yeah. JT does things better than Stetson, and Stetson does things better than JT. If it weren't close, you wouldn't be this far into a season with a potential national champion and not fully know, right? And I think what everything tells you is that because of JT's injury, which is a piece of it, because of the receivers, which is a piece of it, because of the pass protection, which is a piece of it, the coaches have looked at all the variables and factors and said, at the current moment in time, we're better off starting Stetson Bennett in these games. And I've got no reason to think that they're wrong in making that decision because they have all the information and I don't. I guess my frustration has been because it is close, I have felt like JT and Stetson have been graded on different scales by a large portion of the fan base. And JT, obviously his interception was bad today. Well, Stetson could have thrown 1 or 2 interceptions too. He had a couple balls that were up in the air. But
the one to Rosemy-Jacksaint where he kind of ripped it out of his hands, DB's hands going out of bounds right there.
There's that one. I mean, with the deep one to Burton, a great defensive back can make a play on that. But look, if you're trying to do some downfield passing, you're going to have to throw it up and one-on-one and let a receiver try to make a play. And sometimes you're going to get burned. You don't get the reward if you don't have that risk in it.
Yeah. Ben, what you got?
Well, I think Dane brought up a point that I actually talked to Blaine about this, and he kind of made me realize that personnel matters with both these quarterbacks. When you look at last year, regardless of who is healthy, JT's really good at throwing to the outside receivers, right? Burton, Pickens, those are the guys he goes to. With Stetson, it's a lot the run game, the tight ends, the slot receivers. Like Kieras was Stetson's go-to guy. And with JT, it was Pickens, it was Burton. So when you don't have Burton, you don't have Pickens, you're stuck with A.D. Mitchell and Ladd McConkey, who aren't bad players. But when they're your best outside receivers, the personnel dictates Stetson, in my opinion, because of the pass protection and the skill guys who are better fit with Stetson. Because if you had the full complement, you can make an argument like if George is out there, Jermaine, they play better with JT. So that's one thing that I think I do realize with the current personnel that you may actually do lean Stetson in the fact that how the team's currently built with the injuries and how it's orchestrated, you go with Stetson. But if you had your full array of weapons and you knew that your O-line could pass block consistently, I think you probably go with JT. So I think there's a lot of variables, and I agree with Dane. It's not like clear cut, like this guy's better, this guy's better, or else I think that the debate would already be over. So I think now realizing with the current personnel why they would go with Stetson, I kind of understand it now.
I think one thing that we've talked about pretty much all year is the pass protection not being really up to par. Today it seemed decent, right? I mean, I didn't see any big concerns, didn't see any big hits on Stetson or on JT. I want to say they didn't give up any sacks. Am I wrong in that?
Well, you had JT get rushed off the edge, and I mean, it was kind of a flutter ball that could have been dangerous, but it didn't turn into anything. And then Stetson on the other end of that equation, you know, the pass that where he throws across his body and hits Burton was almost a touchdown. I mean, that was a really good athletic play. I mean, that kind of felt like, I'm not saying it's to this degree, so people don't take that because I know people.
Oh, here we go. It's the overreaction show. It's the overreaction show. Here we go. What is it?
But like whatever that Johnny Manziel, that like Bo Wallace, like we're gonna do some crazy shit and like it's gonna happen. I probably can't even say that, but like
no, you can't.
Like that particular play, it was like Stetson can do that, and other people on the roster can't. Like that's. That backyard football quality to it, I think is really helpful when you get into championship time, because when things break down and don't go according to plan, who do you feel good about kind of managing those plays and extending those plays? And he's not on that caliber, so don't right. I'm not saying he's playing to the level of Johnny Manziel in college. No way.
I want to ask the chat this and try to get the chat going a little bit. When JT drops back, do you feel more confident than when Stetson drops back? I don't know. To me, I was really trying to watch it, and it just.
Can I catch you on your question though? Because it's not a fair one the way you phrase that. Because Stetson does not drop back that much.
He drops back a little bit. He doesn't drop back as much as JT.
They move that pocket. They like to get him on the run. He did more today.
Paul, if I have complaints about the offense, to me, it's like the run game. When you know they're loading the box and you consistently run inside zone, like they're going to stop it when you run the same run play that much. Like that was my biggest concern that I don't know if a lot of people are talking about. Yeah, the O-line wasn't great, especially run blocking. I get that. But when you run the same run play, at least it's the same design so many times, it's so easy to stop. You got to get do like the outside runs. Like they did, I think they did like 2 with James Cook and they both worked. So it's like, you got to do more of those, like the motions, like the jet sweep to Kieras that worked. Every time they did one of those motion plays, they just motion a guy or they do a sweep. It worked. Do more of those, do more screens. Like the screens, they did 2 or 3 of them today. They all work. Do more of those types of plays. You don't have to just line up. We're just going to run right up the middle and pound you. That you don't have to do that. Just get creative, because every time Georgia got creative today, it worked every single time. So I think that's the number one thing. The play calling has to be, you have to do more of the screens. You have to do more of the outside runs and some of those plays.
I wonder if they were hesitant with Broderick on that side, because if I'm thinking back, all the quick pitches, I believe, were to the right. And I mean, the jet sweep was to the left, but that's so far beyond the tackle at that point.
Yeah.
You know, once he gets – so I wonder if there was hesitancy there. I have no idea. That's wild.
You weren't on yet, but I was talking to Roddy and Ben about it. I didn't see a huge drop-off from Jamari to Broderick. I was trying to watch it as best I could. Seemed like he held up his own. Obviously, he's a 5-star offensive tackle. There weren't any plays that stuck out to me. You want to have Salyer back as quickly as possible, but when you're able to plug in Broderick Jones right there, it seems to have worked.
I think he had one play, Paul.
Yeah,
one play. It was the play they scored a touchdown with Arian Smith. I think Broderick got beat on that play, but Stetson made a play there.
Dane, I'm going to let you go. Roddy's back with us. Any last thoughts here for the POS before we let you ride on home and take care of your loved ones?
I wish night games would happen so I could get on here and drink bourbon some more. Those are more fun to me. But
yeah.
So be it. Maybe SEC championship.
We're gonna miss out on the 3:30 Auburn Texas A&M game. We'll have to have Trent pull that up.
You will.
I feel bad for Nebraska. Nebraska lost to Ohio State, Michigan State, and Oklahoma all by one possession, and they're 3-7. Just think about that for a second. That's heartbreaking.
Dane, as always, man, we appreciate your takes and have a good one. We'll be looking forward to over on UGAsports.com. Film Don't Lie, unique series only for our subscribers with Dane Young and the professor, Brent Rollins, breaking down some game tape for you guys. So thanks, Dane.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, Paul, quick update. Big defensive showdown between Wake Forest and North Carolina. It was a defensive slugfest, 58-55.
Yeah.
And North Carolina beat them, so you don't have to worry about no Wake Forest in the playoff no more.
Oh, Wake Forest is out. We've got Roddy Nabolsi and Blaine Gilmer from the field. Roddy, we'll wait for you. Blaine Gilmer, you are on the field with the Dogs win behind you. What was the game like on the sidelines today, sir?
I mean, it seemed like it started off just a little sluggish. I mean, obviously not being able to see the TV view of it and everything, you missed some stuff, but just seemed like they, took them a little while to get the juices flowing. It was real cold, I'm telling you, at the beginning of this game. And then the sun came out a little bit. They got juiced up, and Georgia started rolling. I thought Bennett looked pretty efficient, and having Jermaine Burton and Arian Smith back, my goodness. Jermaine Burton, just the strength in his, hands, being able to go up and pluck that ball away from that guy, and just plays with an attitude, that this Georgia offense has been missing a little bit out wide.
We talked a little bit about Broderick Jones taking over for Jamari at left tackle. Were you able to kind of watch that? I know you were taking some photos of him and some live game reps action. Anything that stuck out for you right there?
I mean, nothing that I can say technique-wise or anything like that, but I mean, I thought the protection was actually pretty solid today when they dropped back. Other than I think when JT got in there late, there was a issue with it was on the other end of the field from me. But Broderick's a good athlete, and he just has to grow into into his body, so to speak. Right, he had a basketball player's frame when he showed up at Georgia, and now he's starting to gain more weight and gain more strength, and he'll continue to do that, I'm sure.
As for recruits go, Blaine, you were the man there getting all the photos. Any recruits stick out to you? Was there? We thought maybe there would be a Travis Hunter sighting. Was there a Travis Hunter sighting today?
Travis wasn't there, but Ethan Davis from Collins Hill was there, who Georgia has really started to pick up on. Also, Jamari Austin committed to Auburn, running back, class of 2022, and Georgia already has two running backs committed in Branson Robinson and Jordan Bryant James. So interesting that he would show up in Athens today. 4-star out of Woodward Academy that had a huge performance. Of course, Hero Canoe is here on his official visit. JoJo Stone Jr. is someone that in the name class of 2024 everyone needs to know because he loves Georgia. Georgia's all over him. I feel like he could be someone that is someone to keep an eye on in the class of 2024 here early on.
Blaine, any parting thoughts? I know you got a lot to wrap up. We don't want to keep you too long, man.
Put him to work.
Oh, no, he doesn't have anything to do. All right, well, cool. I was trying to get you out of here, Blaine.
I'm up and loading photos for you guys to get over there. But no, I thought Georgia.
Ain't none of them in focus. What are you worried about?
Looked pretty explosive in the run game and things like that. Here goes Kirby Smart beside me there. But anyways.
See if you can catch a ride. See where he's headed. He's always ABC, always be recruiting. He's going over to see those recruits right now.
Absolutely, he is. He's heading over there to the Players Lounge to see those recruits right now. So there'll be a lot of those guys over there. But we'll have a full report and everything on that on UGA Sports here coming up tomorrow. So. And
as always, Blaine, the Rumors versus Facts show, which we try to get the viewership higher than yours each week. I think we beat you last week. You've been beating us, but not so fast, my friend. I've got a secret weapon up my hand. I'm going to start sharing this
competition, right? Healthy competition.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Game day confirmed.
Yeah. So, all right, Blaine, we'll talk to you later on, man. We appreciate you joining the show.
All right, see you guys.
See you, man. We had a question in here from Fred. He said, will this be a podcast? It certainly will, Fred. It will be on our podcast channel tomorrow, I think. It takes me like 2 hours to download the thing, so I'm getting good at it, though. Let's see here. Conscious mindset, but JT should have been in a lot sooner than he was in. He was in at halftime, wasn't he? Or close to? No, Stetson started
Second
after
drive
halftime.
of the second half.
Yeah, second drive of the second half. He took it all the way home there. Michael Smith saying, great game, Georgia, go Dogs. That's a cute puppy in your photo there, Mike. What type of dog is that? Rhodesian Ridgeback?
Oh, you haven't brought up the end yet? You haven't brought up the last couple seconds of the game?
We did, but you decided to not join the show and instead watch another game, so we've already discussed that. Yeah. I mean, the ending
I thought
of the
only
game,
Jed's a slacker, but
no. Eli Drinkwitz tried to score on Georgia right there at the end of the second string defense. Roddy and I talked about it. Great goal line stand. You know, you want to see that first team defense get back in there and hold their own, but just as well, the second team defense was able to do its job. And I think that helps even more than the first team doing it. You know, the first team can do it, but William Poole with a big pass breakup on third down. Don't know who the hell they were passing to on that fourth. I mean, we know who he's passing to on the fourth down play. He just didn't do it. We got a Bulldog fan 764 joining us. No camera though, so we're going to bring him on, guys. Bulldog fan 764. Whoa, what's up, man? That's a all right. Well, all right. Well, we'll keep it moving. And let's see here. Fred F. Love the content. We appreciate you, man. 43-6. Let's see. By quarter, I think that Georgia had them at half. I want to say they had 160 yards. I want to say 160 defensive yards. And then they just started kind of dink and dunking their way down the field. I want to say Missouri did to get themselves to 273 total yards for Missouri. So Georgia, on the other hand, did not run the ball fairly well. Cook and Zeus both had 9 carries. Zeus, 14 yards for Zeus. When's the last time Zeus had 14 yards?
Well, as you say, when you run into a box with 8 guys in it, you know, and when they sell out to take away the run, it's going to be tough for you.
Roddy, I said this. Why don't they run different run plays and just inside zone up the middle? It's like I feel like on first down more than half the time they ran that play. It's like the most basic Georgia run play. I feel like they run it so often that with an 8-man box, you're going to stop it. Can they get more creative with just motion and things like that?
You still run it to see if you can do it, you know, but other times it's and there's a couple times where they'd have 8 in the box and then you watch 2 guys bail. You know, it's you're looking at your read, you're like, okay, we think we can run on that. And then towards the end, they were able to do so. So, and they set up some great play action stuff. They didn't run a whole lot of play action, but after, you know, it's like, okay, you think we're going to run it every time on first down. Now watch this fake. And then they hit one over the top for a big gainer. So it's, I don't know. They've got so much stuff that they haven't called, you know, so much potential. I mean, there's so many stuff they could have done with the tight ends. Getting Arian Smith in there, as Coach Donna mentioned on the Watch Along show, this is nothing against Lad McConkey or Brock Bowers, but now you've got burners. You got speed guys. You got a guy like Arian who could just take off. And now all of a sudden, after you hit him on that long pass, notice how the game completely changed because they're like,
yes,
crap, we got to back up. We can't crowd the line like this. They'll gouge us. Completely different ball game right after that one play. One play changed the entire outcome.
If you take away Kieris Jackson's 37-yard, can you take that away? Let's take it away. As a rush, right? I'm trying to get the statistics here. While I do that, though, Dejon Edwards, man, I don't know if he's going to get any more playing time this year, right? I think the running backs are kind of set, but damn, does he run hard, man. I mean, like, looked really good. 130, let's see, minus that. What am I doing here?
I don't know. You're probably drunk.
168 minus 37. Okay, so 130 on 32. So if you take out Kieris's long run, for the running backs, only 4 yards a carry. So that's not really where they want to be, but at the same time.
Yeah, but again, it's scheme. You know, it's when – here's my issue with the O-line. Or I should say issue. Here's my defense of the O-line. When you have 5 blockers – taking on 6, 7, 8 guys. So you added in a tight end, so you got 6 blockers taking on 8. You're doomed to fail. So you have to go to the air, which they did. But then when it's a show pass and they're able to rush you with 4 and get pressure on the quarterback, That's my criticism of the O-line. So it's like, look, I'll defend you when you can't run it because you're running into 8 guys, or the box is loaded. Even though sometimes you can run it, but point being, I'll back any offensive lineman to that point. But there were a couple times when he was 4-on-5, 4 defenders versus 5 offensive linemen, and Stetson still had to run for his life, just like against Florida. That's a you problem. But then you notice when they did block for him, and Stetson just sat back there and picked their asses apart. It's like, okay, this is especially that drive right before the end of the half. That was a thing of beauty.
We've got Fred here. Let's get Fred on with us.
Let's go, Fred.
Hey, Fred. Why does that keep doing that? What is going on? That was not what. Okay. All right. Well, we're not going to bring anybody else on. Anyways, let's see. We have some.
Do you need me to run the board?
No, the board was not. It was not looking. It had a Oreo there, and then it changed. So let's see here.
Don't mind me. I'm going to eat
Eating over there?
toasted Cheez-Its while you talk.
Grey Goose says, we have very little success running up the middle. Hopefully we're holding back some better plays for the playoffs. You've gone through 9 games now. I don't know if there's any change you could do up front. I mean, what can you change there? It's not like they're going to just start going to immediately block harder, right? I'm not quite understanding what they could do differently.
Well, they're a lot better run blocking than they are pass blocking. So to me, though, if you don't have a blitzing linebacker, if you can get a more honest defense, then you'll have success running up the middle. Georgia has had success doing that. I don't know that you need to call a ton of sometimes it's just numbers. I mean, we can –
pass blocking looked good today, though.
Yeah, when it was when you're outnumbered them, especially towards the second half, they got a lot better at it. So,
yeah,
much better. I would worry about this against a team with better rushers. But again, to me, this is the same thing. I had an issue with someone said, hey, our pass protection was good on that play. And my question was, well, how many guys do they rush? Well, they rushed 4. Well, if you've got 5 guys providing pass coverage, then you should look good. But when you have the same number or less and they're able to get to you, or they send a blitzer and nobody picks them up, that's when you got to worry about the pass blocking. And Georgia just didn't do a whole lot of that.
Well, Roddy, you brought up a point on that play. Like when you think about it, Clemson probably had a couple good plays against Georgia where they had good pass protection, but overall they were terrible. So, I mean, exactly. You're going to get a couple plays or you're going to pass block well every game. Like every team will. So,
yeah, and I mean that's why Georgia was able to destroy them. I was worried about getting in that Clemson game. I was worried about Georgia's secondary, but when you were able to first series when you get a sack almost on the goal line when you rush 3. It's like, okay, this is a completely different ballgame than what everybody was expecting to happen. Because the minute that happened, you could just see the Georgia defensive line, the Georgia defensive half of the team. They're like, holy crap, we got them. We got them, boys. We can get to their quarterback with 3 or 4. Drop everybody. He ain't going to be able to throw nowhere. And that's what happened. I mean, they scored 3 points the entire game. Of course,
also quick note, Paul, I think I was right before the Georgia-Clemson game that Clemson's receivers, you overrated them. I think I was right there. I just want to take my victory lap on Paul.
Hey, Amari Carmichael says, should I call in? Absolutely, Amari. Give us a call, man. We'd love to hear from you. We answered your super chat earlier, but we will talk to you as long as you'd like moving forward. I'm gonna let Roddy run the board, pulling you guys in though, because I'm not gonna be at fault for that. So I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see here.
Let's keep bouncing people out. I don't know.
Is Tennessee looking forward? Is Tennessee somebody Georgia should be worried about, or does it kind of matter when Kentucky plays tonight at 7 against Tennessee? Or is that where we're going to maybe see, okay, if Tennessee beats Kentucky, let's be a little bit more worried? Or is this one of those games where Georgia should be able to handle their own? The spread's going to be 27, and it's going to be another SEC opponent that's in double digits against the Dogs.
What do you mean by worry, Paul? That they could lose the game, or the fact that Tennessee can keep? I don't think
there's a game on Georgia's schedule that they can lose so far. But is there a worry at all? Is there something that Georgia fans haven't seen yet?
Well, I think Tennessee's defense is very bad, but they have an offense that if Georgia can shut down an offense and limit big plays at Tennessee, then you got to think. I'm not saying Tennessee's offense is Bama, but if they can shut down Tennessee's offense, I think people would feel a lot more confident going into if they had to play Alabama or or Auburn or A&M, who I don't think can score at high rates on Georgia. We know Auburn can.
I'm not excited about Georgia's chances. I mean, I expect Georgia to win, don't get me wrong, but I don't like when you see some of those teams go fast.
Yes, that's
kind of
where I was getting at.
That makes me a little bit nervous, basically to give them some success. I mean, of course, you can always go lose a game. That's possible. But, you notice we only talk about Tennessee's offense. We don't talk a whole lot about their defense. And it's because I don't want to call it a gimmicky offense. It's effective, but it wasn't there early on. And it takes guys a while to learn how to do it. But they've learned how. They're being very successful with it. It does make me a little nervous. Also, that running quarterback makes me nervous. You saw, and people are like, why are you so down? Why are you so nervous? I'm like, because a friggin' running quarterback can do crap like what you saw today. Yes, you win. We had somebody say, why are you guys complaining about a 43-6 win? I'm like, take that same rationale, why are you complaining, and apply it to the quarterbacks. No one should be worried about the quarterbacks because if you win, then there's nothing to worry about, right? Well, as a fan base and as media people, we've learned to worry about when that other shoe is going to drop. What is that Achilles heel? What's the nervousness? And what does this game or the past game or the one before that tell you about the game coming up? What I saw today and what I've seen in the past, running quarterbacks are problems for every defense, just because, again, a number standpoint is, Georgia can't go man, as we saw in that first series, with a running quarterback. All right, so you can't be in man coverage or it can be man under. Take that off the chart, that's going to hurt you against Tennessee. It's going to change up what you got to do. And then you worry a little bit about your pass pro, because maybe you're going to run into a team that's really good. People that are worried about Stetson, they're like, oh, Stetson's great for now, but what happens when he gets against this team? So you do need to be concerned about Tennessee. Hopefully we'll be off here before in time to watch part of that game. I know we'll have a ton of content that I'll be editing, and I won't get to see a ton of it, but I do want to see how Kentucky faces them. Because maybe you can get – and here's a great thing for Georgia fans. They're at Tennessee. They're not going to get back until like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 4:18. Your boys are showered. They're out. They're watching games. A bunch of them are going to go over Classic City East tonight and sign autographs for money. Georgia's resting. Tennessee still has to play.
Tennessee.
Where are they on right now?
No, they'll be on at 7. Tennessee and Kentucky is a 7 o'clock game. Yeah. Hendon Hooker, just so you guys know, Hendon Hooker, the quarterback for Tennessee, transfer in 17 touchdowns on the year, 2 interceptions, QBR 77.1, which is 13th in the nation. But like Roddy said, where is it? Boom, boom, boom. His rushing is pretty decent. Last week against Alabama didn't do much, 12 rushes for 26 yards. Week prior to, Ole Miss had 108 yards on the ground with a touchdown, 66 yards against South Carolina with a touchdown, 80 yards against Missouri with a touchdown. So that's where maybe, it gets into play there.
Hey, I'm going to bring in Penn Hurst. He's a great sponsor. Great supporter of our broadcast and our website. He's been around forever. He's a good guy here in town. Y'all need to check him out over at off of Hawthorne, I believe. Hey, Penn, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Roddy?
Doing fantastic. Penn is a great, great dog, and I'm glad he's joining the show. Penn, what did you think about today?
There was good and bad. I mean, you got to see a little bit. Maybe it'll stop the narrative a little bit. You got to see a little bit of maybe why JT hasn't been playing. Is he still a little rusty and just coming back? And, his timing wasn't great. Those 2 plays back to back. One where he didn't feel the rush, which could have been a huge turnover, and the other where he actually threw the pick, just kind of shows, he's just not quite to game speed yet. So I don't know if I don't know how you. I really, it's a coach. How do you put him back in? How do you start him? How do you make it work for all the people that are clamoring for that? And get him enough reps against teams with enough of a pulse. I mean, you take the chance next week of losing a game against Tennessee if you did something like that. So I don't know how you do it. Maybe you guys do.
that is the how much does Kirby make? $7 million. That's the $7 million question there. I don't know, honestly. I think you've got some great points, Penn. You don't know when you can throw him back out there. You can throw him back out there against Charleston Southern, sure, but what if Stetson comes out? Stetson should have had 4 touchdown passes today.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give my opinion at this point. I know that there'll be other people that think that he should start immediately. Just as he goes along, and they need to get him ready because they feel like he's the only one that gives us a chance to beat whoever we play in the SEC championship game, which I'm not necessarily 100% behind, but you hear that line of thinking a lot. Yeah. I think you're going to have to just leave him as a relief pitcher. If people believe that things will go sideways if we play, let's say, Alabama in the SEC championship game with Stetson in, if it is, you need a guy who has his kind of arm talent to win that game. He's your perfect relief pitcher. And God Almighty, we've had it done to us many times. So,
yeah,
why not?
Penn, here's a question for you, Penn, and then I'll let Ben and Roddy chime in too as well. 2-minute drill. And again, we're assuming Georgia plays Alabama in the SEC championship game. That could change, obviously, with the big matchup against Auburn. Auburn's got to win against Texas A&M, though. But let's say it's Alabama, 2-minute drill. Who do you want at quarterback, Penn?
A 2-minute drill's got to be JT. But no, you know what? Here's a funny backside of that. If you got 2 minutes and you want to run the clock out, who do you want as your quarterback?
You probably want Stetson. I'm saying 2-minute drive, you got to go down. You got to get 4. You can't kick a field goal.
I'd put JT. I mean, not JT right now. Maybe JT in 3 weeks. I mean, the guy that's out there right now isn't the same guy that was there last year. I mean, he's just not. I'm not saying he won't get there. He's just not there yet. He's not sharp. He didn't throw a football for 4 or 5 weeks. And I was hearing things that he was rusty last week. And that's why he didn't play, in the bye week. That's why he didn't play against Florida, as he wasn't throwing the ball very well. And, then this week they put him out there. And you kind of see, what was going on. The ball does look different coming out of his hands. I don't know how anybody can look and watch and not say, okay, his arm is decidedly better. And he's better pre-snap, in the pocket. I think Stetson's better rolling. As we can see, JT didn't do a very good job of throwing that rollout pass late in the game to McConkey. But, overall, I think it's easy to see JT's arm is better. And if you're going to beat a team, you got to pass to all 3 levels. He's the guy you want. But I just don't think he's going to be ready in time.
Roddy, Ben, the floor is yours.
Penn, the one thing me and Roddy got on me last week, if you didn't see, about the JT Stetson thing. I said the one thing I like a lot more with JT is decision making. He threw the pick, but he made the right decision. That's the one thing that I've just consistently seen where Stetson sometimes like you shouldn't have thrown that ball. You shouldn't have done that. Where JT, it's like today, okay, you made the right decision, but you didn't execute. And is there a process of, okay, I know Stetson right now can execute more, even if it's like, hey, he might make 1 or 2 more bad decisions, but I know he's not rusty and he can execute. Is that something that you take into account, Penn?
Absolutely. But I do, you have to take kind of everything into account too. I understand Roddy's point. Right now our guards whiff as much as they hit, so it's not a bad idea to have somebody, in there who can move. Schaefer in the first 2 series, if he made contact with his guy, I didn't see it. And Erickson had trouble, during the points of the game. And I think as the game went along, they kind of settled in. But at the same time, if the speed of the game is too much for him, like it was on that rush where the guy hit his arm and it could have been a fumble, what's that going to be like early in the game? And then we're down 7 or down 14 because he's not ready for game speed. And there's a lot to. I think you got to roll with Stetson, and I'm a JT. I think he's the better quarterback, but I think you got to roll with him until he gives you a reason not to.
That's fair. For my thing, and people think, well, you have a vested interest. You're rooting for this guy. You have an agenda. Hey, anybody says that, just go to hell. Okay, yeah. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me who's the quarterback because it's a good story either way. If it's JT. Then you got the California kid who gets busted up at USC, goes across the country to the South where he's never been, sits behind, sees the quarterback flailing at Georgia, the crazy year they had last year, comes in towards the end, is named the starter, then gets hurt. Then over the summer flies a bunch of guys out to LA, and he has that bonding moment with his team. Then he comes back here, he gets hurt again, then he comes in towards the end of the season, leads you to a national title that you haven't seen in 41 years. Hell yeah, that's a great story. If it's Stetson Bennett that takes you there, that's also a great story. Doesn't matter to me. Don't care. All I ask is that you use the same criteria for both guys. And that's what I don't see a lot of. People are like, oh, well, that JT would have completed that pass. How the hell do you know he'd have completed X pass or Y pass? When you look at the numbers, I'm like, the numbers are pretty similar. And I mentioned this week, batted passes. Both of them have cut in half the number of batted passes they had from last year. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot for both of them, not just one. They were both. And then people are like, well, last week, well, we beat Florida. That was great, but there were 2 interceptions. Well, there's an interception this week, and who the hell threw it? In other words, to me, those weren't bad interceptions. That wasn't the end of the game. You won handily. This week, you won handily. Wasn't a bad interception. Don't worry about it. But again, just apply the same rationale to both. And my issue with Ben last week was people say one's a better decision maker. Very possible. The problem is, how do you know? How do you know what decision was made? How do you know when they checked out, when they didn't? What the call was. Lots of times, like, oh, well, he's going through his progressions. You don't know what the progressions are. You don't know if it's a 1 read, 2 read. Are you reading in, out, up, down? Mm-hmm. Too many people make decisions based on what they want the outcome, or make their criticisms based on what they want the outcome to be. And I'm like, look, just be fair across the board. And don't assume that Kirby's doing this out of hard-headedness, or he wants a South Georgia guy to be the guy, or he doesn't know how to manage quarterbacks. You saw Kirby, when your team was up by 37 points, losing his damn mind on the sideline because somebody made a mistake. How badly do you think he wants to win? And if one guy gives him a 51% chance, if one guy gives him a 49% chance, who's he going to pick to be his quarterback? 51% guy. Mm-hmm. No agenda.
Yeah, I don't think there's any agenda with Kirby, too. I hope that's the narrative. The other thing I think
I see it and it makes me mad, Penn. That's why I bring it up.
Right.
And that's why I get heated. I'm like, I'm not heated for Stetson. I'm heated for bad analysis or bad criteria.
Right, bad agenda.
The same across the board.
I hear you. I think one thing we all can agree on, too, that I like is, different than Fields and Fromm, these guys like each other and are supporting each other. Yes. And they were as happy for one another when they had success. And that's something that I think, it goes a long way towards what we're going to try to accomplish over the next, 4 or 5 weeks. You know what I mean?
It's completely different on the sidelines with those two guys. They're cheering and hollering. They're the biggest cheerleader for each one another. As like you said, Fromm and Fields, that was a little bit different there.
Yeah, the whole defense is that way too, though. You notice that? It's a different guy each week leading the team in tackles and such. And I'm sorry we had somebody join the thing. I didn't get them on in time, so please.
Sherry, give us a call back. We'll get you
back on there, Sherry. I apologize for that. But when you see these guys rooting for each other, and I've seen, I think it was 2012, I've seen teams come back with all these NFL talents, and each one's trying to bump up his stats. And you're like, how can you get scored on when you have all this talent? Well, when you don't play like a unit, it's easy to pick somebody apart, Mm-hmm. And I've been very impressed with the offense and defense. These guys kind of take care of each other. So that's been very, very nice.
You could see it. It was plain as day, and what was going on. To me, I think it's pretty obvious who the more talented quarterback is. But again, how do you figure it out? What do you do? There's no way to get him the right kind of reps between here and there and not risk, a catastrophe. So I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, well, you can. You put him in, and if he's doing bad, you bring it. See, to me, I'm like, look, you got 2 healthy, good quarterbacks. This shouldn't be a controversy. This should be a blessing.
You just don't want to
get it done. Hell yeah.
I just wouldn't want to get down on the road to anybody before. It's one thing. I think we beat. I think we could start Beck and beat Southern and Charleston Southern and Tech. But
maybe Penn, maybe Penn. Don't get ahead of yourself here, bud.
I mean,
Charleston Southern, you could start Roddy and we'd win.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, they're pretty bad. I think our defense would beat them if we just punted. Without. But at the same time, so what do? You don't have anything to kind of prep yourself between here and Bama or Auburn, whoever you see, or Texas A&M, whoever it may be. So I don't know. For me, I think JT's the better overall quarterback, but the injury is just setting back to where who knows if he'll be ready. I think he's going to have to be a relief pitcher.
Hey, well, the Braves did it with Tyler Matzik and those guys, and they did a pretty good job in relief. So maybe it can come over to the Georgia side. Penn, we appreciate having you on, man. Really good banter back and forth, and love having you over at UGAsports.com as well.
Good to see all three of you guys. Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut Penn off. I was hoping he was about to say, "Hey, he's going to buy me lunch."
Yeah, I think that's what it. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what we're going to make it into.
Hold on, he's still here. We can add him back real quick. Hey, Penn, you were saying something. You were going to buy us lunch. Is that what it was?
I was gonna buy you guys lunch if you agreed with what we talked about earlier in the season about Bowers being ready to.
Oh, Penn, I should not have brought you back.
Paul botched it.
All right, Penn, have a good one, Penn. No.
See you guys. Y'all be good, boys.
See ya. Damn it, I shouldn't have done that.
I mean, this is why you got to make a clean cut with these.
I know, man. Get them out and get them out, man. God.
Speaking of clean,
what's up, Trent?
Am I the only one without Braves gear?
What's up?
Yeah, I had to wear the hat today, man. Oh, I got this.
Wait, Paul, you told me when I had the Justin Tucker shirt. Look, see, you guys are getting merch faster than me.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, I
This
had to get that shirt like a week later. You guys get it like 3 days later. Are you kidding me?
No, my wife's best friend went to Game 4, sat 3 rows behind the Astros, and she got me this and a T-shirt, a long sleeve T-shirt. So, but I did wear the polo today, Brent, as you can tell. I didn't wear the T-shirt. Just saying. Trent, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Georgia won today. Did you know that?
Did they?
Yeah, they did. They did 43-6.
I'm sure y'all are on here bitching about quarterbacks.
Not so much. Not so much. I've come to the realization that I think Stetson can be that guy. He looked good today. Should have had 4 touchdowns. I'm not fully there yet, Roddy. I'm not there. Don't know. Still, and I will ask this question to everybody. If you have a 2-minute drive down 4, I think your opinion changes a little bit. But anyways, overreaction time. Trent, what's up, man?
No, I thought Stetson played well, but I do think he some of his passes in the first half very well could have been picked off. I'm sure y'all have already talked about that, but I know Rosemary Jack State basically took one away from the defender on the sideline, and
Yes.
Brock Bowers muscled one over the middle that the defender was making a break on. I think there was some 50-50 balls, but again, you want your receivers to make those plays, and I thought he did. I thought the pass he threw to McIntosh could have been a touchdown if he leads them a little better. He kind of threw it behind him.
Yeah, he had to catch that one-handed, didn't he?
Yep, but I mean, but he's putting the ball in position for the receiver to make a play, and that's all you can ask. So,
and that's a good point. To me, getting back top wide receivers makes your quarterback look a lot better. We'll go back to some of the things that Ridley did. He made his quarterbacks look better. Javon Wims made his quarterback look better.
He made Fromm look like a superstar with those over-the-shoulder catches in the like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's a back shoulder throw. It's a back shoulder throw. It's not a back shoulder throw. It's an underthrown ball that your wide receiver went and saved your ass on.
Yeah, Wims did
You know what,
it. Yeah.
Paul, you know what confused me was they made some catches like Burton and McIntosh made, but then when Mitchell would drop passes like that, it was like that was just a weird day to see them drop like easy balls and then make like crazy catches.
AD
That
just had an
was
off
bizarre to
day.
me.
AD had an off day for sure.
well, it was 42 degrees or 44 degrees. So
It's a little
Didn't
cold.
stop the other guys catching them.
Yeah, true.
But no, I thought Coach John made a good point on the show. It was like when you have a guy like Jermaine Burton coming back, and this was a guy that was supposed to be your next George Pickens until he got hurt. When he's coming back and you've got 4 drops on the sheet, I don't know that AD had 4 drops. I mean, it's the way it's listed on the stat sheet, but I know 2.
well, 2 of them were thrown behind him, and he kind of reached back to catch the ball. Well, I know at least one of them was. He reached back.
Yeah, but there were 2 that he should have caught. That I know.
Yeah.
I mean, hit him in the hand. So
for sure.
Yeah.
when you drop those, and there are a couple for Missouri, they dropped a couple. That I think number 82 dropped 2 that just were killer for them. At that point, when you've got a healthy Arian Smith, you've got a healthy Jermaine Burton, you have Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint coming back. You've got those 2 tight end options. Heck, even Fitzpatrick caught a pass today. You don't this is not a place because, Penn was talking about, we're going out there and making a mistake or having a bad day. There's not a lot of time to have a bad day on this team. There's too many guys that want your spot back or want their spot or want to take yours. So I hope AD can get over that. I mean, again, everybody has a bad day. I thought, we talked about last week, Stetson had 2 bad passes on some kind of questionable play calling there. Today he had some bad passes, but he also had some killer ones too, and he had one that came out of there like a cannon shot, so he's got the arms. Sometimes they're not exactly where you want them to go. What he gives you, is enough for you to win by 40. It will be enough for you to beat these hypothetical great teams down the line. I don't know. And I mentioned on the about my 3-2-1 column, you need some of these other teams to lose because I just saw a bottleneck of 13-0 or 12-1 teams at the top of the at the end of the year. Doesn't look like it's going to happen now. Then that's you need Oregon to lose. That would help. But OSU losing.
They're locked in. Wake Forest just lost. They're the team of destiny, and they're out.
Well, I didn't even think Wake Forest could knock you out because I think a one-loss SEC runner-up versus Wake Forest,
Yeah.
Wake's defense is a joke.
I think you could beat that. But to me, when you have the Big 10, Big 12, and Pac-12 champions all in, and then you get the SEC champion in there, and you're like, okay, we got to pull one of you for a one-loss SEC runner-up. That's kind of tough. I wasn't worried about the ACC.
Well, I think if Oklahoma loses, Roddy, do you think they're out? Because look at where they put them, and look at they have not beaten a team with a winning record yet, and they've won like 5 games by 1 possession.
Where did they
should have lost
put
to West
Oklahoma?
Virginia?
I mean, Oklahoma loses, they're out. But if they don't have anybody really to.
Yeah, they're in. But if they lose 1 game, I think 1 loss Georgia has to get in.
Well, that's my whole point. You need somebody else to lose to give you that mulligan if needed. Yeah, maybe you go to the SEC championship and you face Texas A&M, Auburn, or Alabama, and you whip their ass, and hey, you're in at 13-0. But my whole point was, don't feel like, hey, we an undefeated season, we're automatically in there. Just root. We're used to rooting against other teams. You've always been in a situation for years where you're like, hey, Georgia lost to Florida. Well, you got to hope that Florida loses to South Carolina this weekend, and Kentucky beats Missouri, and Alabama knocks off Tennessee. Georgia fans have done that math for years. Just get back to the old habits and watch some of those other teams and hope that Oregon loses, Ohio State loses, Oklahoma loses, so that you don't – because you've got that Clemson win in your pocket, So now you can go, hey, we don't have to worry too much about the SEC championship. We want to win it, of course, because we're Georgia fans and we want that title and you want to beat whoever's there. But somebody's breaking into my house. Somebody kicking in the door over there. But point being, I'm saying I could see a bottleneck there, but as the season progresses, Georgia's setting themselves up pretty good.
Here's something for you guys off the old stat book. So Georgia completed 20 passes today between the 2 quarterbacks. 9 of those passes were considered big plays. And what are considered big plays, you ask? Plays of 15 yards or more. So 9 out of their 20 passes were over 15 yards. You had 15, 35, 47, 31, 23, 16, 17, 37, and 15. So they moved the ball downfield, at a pretty good pace compared to Missouri's big plays. They had 3 big plays passing for 19, 31, and 28, and only 4 on the rushing side. That's gains of over 10 plus. Georgia on the rushing side in terms of big plays had 6. So they broke off those 6 plays for 110 yards, and the rest of the carries. Good. Oh, goodness. Hold on. They had 6 plays go over 10 yards, and it accounted for 110 rushing yards. The whole game, they had 33 rushes for 168. So you take out the big plays there, and that number drops pretty drastically. But, big plays are still part of the stats. So
they had some lost plays today for sure.
They did. For Georgia, though, if you combine the 2 quarterbacks, they went 20 for 30. Let me see if I can pull these stats up for everybody so they can take a look at them with us. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Let's see. What if we do it that way? Is that better? Or is that better? You guys let me know. Same thing? All right. So 20 for 30 overall right there for the pass totals for the Georgia passing attack. 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. You had the 1 interception get tipped. Roddy, I think you mentioned this in the Watch Long show. Tipped interceptions off of a DB's head. that, bounces this way, bounces that way, and then the quarterback gets hit with that. Yes, it was a bad throw by JT. It was thrown behind him, but damn, man, you give him an interception on that? I mean, I guess you have to, right?
I'm with you there. Normally, when a receiver, the ball hits him in the hands, he misses it, somebody else catches it. I hate that the INT goes to the quarterback. It's just not fair. To me, that if you could assign an interception to a wide receiver, it's like, okay, this is your fault. But then going back and looking at it when they're watching the replay, seeing how far that ball was behind him, I'm like, okay, that was a bad throw.
He threw it so far behind him.
I want to have the same critique, same criticism. When you have tip balls, if I say tip balls do not, they're at least touch a wide receiver first, then it shouldn't account towards the quarterback. Then I won't bust JT for this one, because it's, to me, that was just a tip ball, and Stetson has a few of those. Rom had them. Aaron Murray had them. It happens, but I've never liked that stat going against the QB. I just don't think it's fair.
It almost looked like like JT was expecting the receiver to sit down instead of bend in the way he threw it.
Yeah.
So
right here, that's why, again, when you don't know what the play is, you don't know what the route is, you don't know what the reads are, and we sit here and try to go, well, this guy made the right decision or wrong decision. How do we know what the right decision was? Let's just go with what we can see and what we can surmise with best guesses. Let's not try to mind read from 50 feet away.
Leading tackler on the team was Dan Jackson. Came in strong in that second half. Had 6 tackles, all solo tackles, which is kind of a unique stat there. Dumas Johnson, guys, we don't talk a ton about him because obviously, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, and Shane Tyndall are pretty much locking up that middle linebacker spot. But Dumas Johnson has clearly showed that once those guys move on, they're going to hand over the reins to that middle linebacker position to him, and he plays, fairly well for being a true freshman. Tyndall with 5, and then kind of drops off. Everybody's got 4, 3, and 2. In terms of sacks, you had 1 from Dumas Johnson, 1 from Trayvon Walker that finished you off with 2. 6 tackles for loss, 2 for Trayvon. You had a half for Robert Beal and Bill Norton, which we'll talk about Robert Beal filling in for Adam Anderson here in just a second. 4 pass breakups, 1 by William Poole right there in the red zone late in the fourth quarter to make sure that Missouri did not score that touchdown. Then another one by Lewis, then another one by Brinney, and another by Lassiter. So there's your stats for the day.
Hey,
presented by
Untitled Charter.
Yeah, big time. William Poole, man.
Chris Smith and William Poole both.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Chris Smith got off a block where he looked so covered up, and he gets off his block and makes a tackle on the edge. I was like, wow, he shoved his man to the ground. So I'm happy for William Poole. And was talking to I think it was this past Tuesday. We got Chris Smith in the interview on Tuesday, whenever it was, Monday. We actually got to talk to him, and
he's really
going back to Hapeville, and he's still being told that he's too small to play football. But when Chris Smith came back last week against Florida, you had to feel a lot better. You hardly saw Dan Jackson last week against Florida, but today he was all over the place. So big game from Dan Jackson, big game from the Hull County standout, a guy that nobody knew back in the spring. He came on, lit it up today, was everywhere. They tried to pick on him a little bit, going after the guy that he was covering. He made him pay. He almost had a touchdown. Almost.
Yeah. That would have been his second touchdown on the year. Both would have been punt return touchdowns.
Trayvon Walker murdered an offensive lineman out there today. I mean, that was just a murder. I mean, he just bulldozed that guy into the ground, and then Latavius Brinney almost knocked the guy out on that one pass. Oh,
well, I think Jackson almost killed a guy too on a block.
I've seen that the topic, Georgia, which I don't recall other than Lewis Seen getting the targeting call last year. I don't recall Georgia having a targeting call. They might have, but
way to jinx them.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is,
I don't think they have this year.
I watched today, and Lewis Seen the guy caught the guy passing the flats, and he could have just lit the guy up, and you saw him like purposely keep his eyes up and like his face back up, and he just kind of drove him out of bounds. I mean, he could have killed him. He could the guy. I mean, he was just the quarterback kind of set him up for failure, but it's just kind of you see how well coached these guys are. with like in those scenarios to not lower the crown of the helmet.
Can we talk about this for a sec? Can we talk about this for a second, guys? Grey Goose said Kirby dropped the F-bomb on the hot mic. That was great. That was great. So just for you guys, maybe if you're watching,
what was it? Throw the effing ball.
No. So let's pull it. I'll pull it back up so you guys know what we're talking about. So Grey Goose, appreciate you bringing that up. I did want to touch on this. If you're watching from inside the stadium, obviously you didn't see it, or maybe you just didn't catch it on ESPN. It was when A.D. Mitchell was lined up offsides or something like that. And so they panned over to Kirby, man, and they put that mic on him, and he goes something about the formations and just dropped it right there. And everybody was just like, oh, they caught that at the perfect time. But to bring up a bigger point on that, Grey Goose, Kirby was mad all day about the formations. They were getting formation penalties like crazy today. And it's the 9th game of the year. There was one outro where they're watching Kirby and they're going to commercial and he's yelling in the headset again, what's up with these formation penalties? Like, why are we still doing this right now in the 9th game of the season? It seems to me, that's one thing that Kirby's really upset about. And
right, got a lot of new guys out there, It's, and they came out sloppy. They came out cold. You're the number one team in the nation. You're a 38.5 point favorite. It's noon. I don't know where the line freezing. You come out and you're like, oh, we got this. We're just gonna pound them. And it's tough to be up for that. They practiced really hard. Found out that they actually went in shoulder pads and helmets on Monday. They kind of went hard, which is normally a walkthrough day. As we found out, which is why you need to catch the watch along show. You learn a lot, when you watch that show. And I don't say they just kind of threw their helmets out there expecting to win, but they came out a little slow. And then give Missouri all the credit in the world. They came out attacking. They're like, we got nothing to lose. And they were playing loose. Georgia started playing tight. You saw that until that Arian Smith catch, that long bomb there. Then everybody just kind of relaxed and they played their game. But you had new guys out there, new guys getting onto the field. Some stupid penalties that you shouldn't. Kirby's right to be mad. You shouldn't be having those this far in. But I think some of it was just a little bit of we got this, and guys just made some mental errors. Kirby was mad. He's going to chew coaches. He's going to chew players. He's not. He did again up 37 points. He was still pissed because you can't have those problems. If you accept it now, then you accept it forever. So he's going to push him to not do that anymore. But I worked those parabolic mics on the sideline. One of my first jobs was you sit down there, you have the headset on, and it's this big dome, and you point it, and whatever you point it at, boy, you can hear clear as day. And
they got him. They got him.
Somebody turned on the far side, and they hit him right to it. And the person in the truck said, "Give me audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. Give me that on-field parabolic," and they hit it at the exact wrong time. And sure enough, he's like, "Get the F up, lined up." Woo! He was hot, and it came over so perfectly. Sometimes there's a lot of crowd noise, and you can't say what he said. No, there was no question.
It was shot on him. Yeah. What were you saying, Trent?
No, I just thought you might already talk about this, but I thought the pass protection was a lot better than the run blocking. I thought they picked up blitz very well today. Now there was times when a guy would just get beat, but I thought overall when Missouri decided to blitz, I thought they picked it up nicely, especially in the first half.
Omari Carmichael says he's got a little PTSD about Bama. He was there in Atlanta, but at the same time, Omari said he's already booked his hotel to Indianapolis. So I don't know. A little both sides there, Omari, but I feel you. There's a little PTSD. Do you guys agree with this? I don't agree with this. UGA fans unable to enjoy wins with Stetson Bennett.
Enrique is absolutely right.
What do you say, Ben?
Here's the thing. This should be the best season ever. But we're caught up in this quarterback thing. People are mad at each other, and the people who want to, like Enrique said, look, just enjoy the win. And those people are like, we're enjoying the win, but we're concerned. Why be so damn concerned? Just enjoy it. And I've realized, I woke up this morning, I'm like, this is going to be a blowout game against an SEC opponent. And I'm like, well, if people, no matter what happens today, people are still going to be pissed. And I just don't understand it.
Don't worry, the Braves broke the curse for you.
So wait, would you rather be Oklahoma, who barely wins and has the best quarterback in my mind. I think Roddy agrees with me. Maybe that's another thing me and Roddy actually agree with each other on. Or would you rather be Georgia, who, regardless who the quarterback is winning by like 30 or 40 points a game? And I think you would take that.
I don't want to be Oklahoma because their defense is trash.
Exactly.
Let's see.
But we're talking
Jesse Farmer says
title unless you have a quarterback who can throw it for 300 yards a game. And I just don't know if that's true. It was true the last 2 years, but that does not mean that's all college football is.
I don't know. I think Missouri.
How many in college football are there, Roddy, this year that you look at and you say that guy's an elite quarterback? Like, in all seriousness, how many are there? I don't think there's that many, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So again, there
4
was
maybe.
They think there's these juggernauts out there, and I'm like, I don't know. To me,
I'm not sure you would
your
think
juggernaut
CJ Stroud's elite in a normal year.
No, so Bryce Young.
Bryce Young would not be elite in a normal year. I mean, like he's a good quarterback, but he's not the elite that college football has.
Matt Corral. So Matt Corral, yeah, I think he is.
I'd go Caleb for sure.
Not enough surrounding him.
Yeah, Caleb, of course. That kid from Pitt is nice, but again, like Trent said, not in the normal year. Malik Willis is nice, but he plays for Liberty, so I mean, he's not doing much over there. But again, not elite in a normal year.
Well, like look at Wake Forest's quarterback. They'll put up so many points, and they allow 55 to North Carolina and 56 to Army in regulation. Like that's how bad their defense is.
I mean, I would have said Sam Howell before the season started, but
yeah, Sam was.
Well, I mean, I would have said DJ. I would have said Spencer before the season. I mean, everybody's dropping like flies.
But Sam was kind of proven from years
past.
DJ wasn't.
Well, you remember when we were in Vegas? It was like DJ, Sam Howell, Spencer Rattler, JT Daniels were all like the 1 through 4 on the Heisman. Early voting, or early betting list. You know, we could have put money down on any one of those guys. We'd lost it. But point being,
well, Paul betted on Stetson, so we're good.
Hey, no, you know who really is hating this right now are those people with the NIL deals for all those guys still having to pay those things out to guys sitting on the bench. That's tough.
Quinn is he's stacking up Ohio State.
Yeah, but I mean, DJ signed the big deals with Dr. Pepper. Have you seen the DJ commercials lately? I haven't. Just saying.
Oh, it fizzled down. It's flat now.
Yeah. Well, he just disappears in the commercial. So
yeah, well, maybe it's true in real life. I don't know. I'm with Jonathan
Kilgore. And again, you don't have a elite quarterback at Georgia right now. Maybe JT is that guy. Maybe he is elite. We know he's one of the smartest QBs out there. People just rave about it. But that front 7 that you have, I don't know how much it's going to hurt it to be without Adam Anderson. That is a big, big deal. But the way they play, it is the equivalent of having a Burrow. It's the equivalent of having a Mac Jones. It's the equivalent of having somebody who is an absolute game changer out there. So, again, maybe everyone's focusing on the quarterback and what's going to happen there when you have a front 7 who's just – they affect everything. When you have a great running back, everyone talks about the great running back. You have a great wide receiver. It's like nobody can cover this guy. But when you got a front 7 to play like they do, that's nuts.
I remember watching.
Go ahead.
I remember watching Alabama back, 2011 around that time, and just talking about how small the windows were passing against their defense, and you see that similarity now. There's just every pass that even Missouri completed today, they're all contested. Like it's very small windows. So, I mean, it's going to be hard, especially with Georgia running so much zone and so much, creating pressure and bringing different guys from different locations, dropping Trayvon Walker into coverage and batting, deflecting passes. It's just hard defense to overcome. They're just very sound and don't make many mistakes. Or according to what we see, Kirby will tell you we're wrong. But
well, Paul, you know what I love about the defense though, and Brent Rollins summed this up perfectly. They play team defense. That's why you don't see like the numbers. Like people would think, even before Adam Anderson has this allegations about him, you would think he would have like 10 sacks given his draft projection and what he had coming into the year. It doesn't matter that he has 5 sacks. They're not on the field that much. So that's why they can't get the numbers, and they just rally to the football. It's like one game, like against Arkansas, Devontae Wyatt was the best defensive player on the field. Against Florida, Nakobe Dean was the best defensive player on the field. Clemson, I mean, that game it was everybody. So I look at it as they play such great team defense, and they're not individuals. Like when we watch Michigan, it's Hutchinson. He dominates. What do the rest do? So that's individual. This team is team defense, and those team defenses win. Like you look at 2011 Alabama, their best players who were in the NFL were Mosley and Hightower. I mean, the rest of them, they weren't really that much NFL players that did great because they just played great team defense, and that's why they won. And that's what's special about this defense. They don't care about individual stats. They just care about dominating and winning.
What I wanted to talk about, though, and to shift it a little bit, it's still the same. Do you think Missouri gave other coaches, maybe Tennessee or whoever they're going to play in the SEC championship game, or college football coaches, playoff coaches, kind of a blueprint on how to go against Georgia's offense? Because they shut down the run pretty heavily, and it seemed to me like Drinkwitz was like, look, you're going to have to pass the ball with Stetson to beat us. We're terrible at rush defense, but we're going to put 8 in the box. We're going to make you throw it. Do you think this tape can be used against Georgia in any way in that kind of fashion, I guess?
I think that would have been a good game plan before you got Jermaine Burton and Arian Smith back. That they kind of proved today that they can win those one-on-one battles. And I think that kind of hinders that defense a little bit, just the fact that they can make those plays. Everybody's going to stack the box, I think. Everybody's going to make Stetson beat them, but as long as Stetson's the quarterback. But when you get Jermaine Burton and Rosemary Jackson and Arian Smith healthy like they were today, they make they can make those one-on-one plays.
I want to touch on that. To me, you have a better chance of bringing JT Daniels back if you get a healthy George Pickens, if you have a healthy Arian Smith, if you have a healthy Jermaine Burton, Marcus Rosemary-Jackson. That he is a drop back pocket passer. He's not mobile, but you give him the tools. Again, you surround him with guys like that, then maybe you switch to that type of offense. Again, pass protection be damned. That's a guy who can get it out fast, as we've seen. But you give him some of those guys who can get upfield and get open, a guy who can pick you apart like that, then maybe this is a team that needs to go with that. But for what you have now, when you're throwing to A.D. Mitchell, who, we weren't talking about him until spring, you're throwing to Ladd McConkey, a guy who
nobody was talking about at all. Period.
Nobody was talking about it at all. Most people didn't know who he was on the team.
Yeah.
You're having to throw to tight ends. You're having to throw to running backs and guys like that. You need you're having pass pro issues. You need to have I'm going to say a running quarterback, but a mobile quarterback. Then maybe that's why you need a Stetson Bennett in there. But when these guys get healthy and come back, and remember, everyone wants to point out how great JT did at the end of last year. Yeah, but who else did he have? He also had George Pickens back there. So, getting George Pickens back is huge. This is a first-round draft pick, and if he comes back, the combination that JT and he had and that timing and stuff like that, then maybe you make a switch then. But right now, I think with the as long as you're still starting Ladd McConkey and A.D. Mitchell, maybe keep starting Stetson Bennett. But when you get back and teams want to load up the box and dare you to throw it, and as Trent points out, with these guys coming back healthy, okay, go ahead and slit your own throat. Paul, you just went down the list of big pass plays they hit.
Yeah.
Those pass plays are great. Oh, Kyrus Jackson being healthy. You saw what he did at Florida. He had a huge game today, all over the place, blocking, catching.
He had the rush too.
So
I just that's my only concern is Missouri put a little bit of tape out there, even with them being god awful defensively. Yeah. Previous, they put a little tape out there to show, hey, if you want to stop Stetson, really load that box and get these running backs. Like I said,
yeah, but you stopped the run. You didn't stop Stetson.
Of course, I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying Zeus 9 for 14, Cook 9 for 41. They were able to effectively stop the run, and they kept. Then Georgia had to switch over and start airing it out a little bit more, and they did that, and they won like that.
They had so many.
Something I wanted to bring up real quick was you talked about, is it a blueprint for teams? Well, there's one thing I've looked at, and I think Roddy's told me this too. There's a lot of teams that it's like, who's elite this year? Like, I'm looking at the current scores. Navy is in a dogfight with Notre Dame. A&M Auburn is 3-3. You got Cincinnati's barely beating Tulsa. Michigan State's getting beat down by Purdue. Like, there aren't that many elite teams that I look at and say who, even if they had the blueprint, could do it outside of Alabama, maybe Ohio State, who I think Ohio State today, they've struggled against any team. Like, I think Nebraska's better than their record. They've struggled with every solid team they've played. So who has the blueprint outside of Alabama to even implement and actually beat Georgia?
Jed May, you look cold, my friend.
I am cold. I'm a very warm-blooded person, and it is very cold. I was cold all day yesterday.
Do they have the space heaters going on in the press box?
They did. I think they turned them off now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I was sitting inside, but there's less people out here, so I can't see many people hanging out. See me hanging out with you guys, so I came outside.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you don't want to ruin your street cred inside there.
Exactly.
Sure. Jed, were you able to go to Kirby's press conference?
I wish I was able to pull it up on Zoom.
Yeah. What did he have to say?
He kind of said it was weird. A lot of the players seemed almost like sad with how they played. Like they were very not disappointed, but just they knew they didn't necessarily play their best game, which is funny when they won 43-6. Defensively there was some sloppiness. They mentioned the quarterback run game, which I'm going to have a story on later. Some missed assignments. He mentioned the offense didn't really get things going until late in that first quarter. But again, it's one of those things. Georgia, it's still. Can you really say Georgia's played a complete game this year? And they're slapping teams down every week. So same old story, different week, I guess.
What did Kirby have anything to say that caught your eye or caught your ear rather? Not your eye.
Trying to think. I mean, not really. Just the overall, I guess, just attitude of how. He said he felt the team was very sloppy. He felt the players think it was a very sloppy, or not very sloppy, but especially at the beginning was a pretty sloppy performance. And just the general attitude of we're still not where we need to be, and there's a lot to get better at, especially going up to Knoxville next week. So,
what did he have to say about the quarterbacks? I know that was asked.
What's weird? Actually, no one asked about the quarterbacks.
You've got to be shitting me. There's no. I was gonna say what?
No.
What?
It was. He felt JT Daniels did a really good job. Someone asked him what he thought of JT Daniels, and the first thing he mentioned was the job he was doing on the sideline. Calling out checks and coverages and all that kind of stuff, which gives him confidence. And then he felt he had a good control of the offense when he came in the game. The pick was, he called it unfortunate. I call it, he should have maybe thrown behind the receiver in the first place, but whatever. Shouldn't have been picked, probably. Shouldn't have been tipped up in the air. But, it's more of the same thing. It's going to be, determined in practice, all that sort of, coach speak stuff he throws out there every week. So who starts against Tennessee? I don't know. Probably Stetson again, if I had to guess. But, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Trent, Ben, you got anything for our man Jed here? He's sitting out in the cold for us out there.
It's so stupid because, in the grand scheme of things, it's not cold at all. But it's
a little cold, man. It's like the first cold of the winter. Your body's getting prepped for it, Jed, is what it's.
But happening. I mean, it's probably like 55 degrees out here, and I'm acting like it's freezing. But it's really not. But
you're lucky it wasn't a night game.
I went to a high school night game last night. That sucked enough. I got to see Lawson Lucky get targeted 5 times, 4 of which were on the last drive. That was fun.
That's tough. That's rough. And then you had to be back over in Athens at what, like 8 o'clock to park your car?
So I got here. What time did I get parked at? Like 9.
It's a tough full-time job you got, Jed.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Writing about sports, man, it really sucks. It really kind of blows.
Yeah. Pray for Jed. #, pray for Jed and his job, man.
I'll drop a GoFundMe link in the comments.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to donate.
At least it's only really the time changes tonight. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, we're getting extra hours sleep tonight.
Oh, goodness. There you go, Jed. Get an extra hour sleep.
Get an extra hour. I got an extra hour before I got to watch Joe Burrow carve out the Browns tomorrow. So, it's good stuff.
What do you guys got for Jed before we let him go, man?
I don't.
You don't have anything for Jed? What about you, Ben? Ben, ask Jed a question. What is that shirt you have on?
It's the Ravens. It's Jed's favorite team.
It's true.
What?
Fighting words right there.
No, that's I was going to bring up to him that I think they play on. I think the Ravens and Browns play on Sunday Night Football. I think I'm going to that game. It's probably going to be snowing. That's why I'm like, dude, I've sat through snow games like every day. Like, come on, like Roddy told me, he's like, if it's 50 degrees out, it's too cold. Like
it is. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Are people from the South really that pissed off about cold weather? Like seriously, you guys can't put up with it?
You go sit in a football stadium in the snow and get snowed on and watch a game?
when you live in Maryland, we've had 105-degree summers and below freezing winters, so I could deal with any weather right here. It's like
why would you voluntarily pay money to go get snowed on to watch a football game?
You know, like Ravens fans, because I mean, it's so passionate up here with football because we had the most elite quarterback of all time, Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Passionate football is in Baltimore, Maryland, folks. You heard it here first. Not
it is. We sell at every stadium, like every game.
I have two comments before I go. One, I was
Jed.
2 points off on my score prediction. I had 45-6, and it ended up 43-6. So the last two home games, I'm a total of 3 points off. So I'm very proud of that. Secondly, I had a thought on Stetson Bennett. So I want to see what you guys think about this, because people are saying, you know, the Jermaine Burton pass in particular, like the guy makes a play, whatever. And that pass was underthrown. Like, it was easy to see from up here just how Jermaine Burton had to step on the guy. But like, I feel like credit, like I feel like at some point, whether it's underthrown, overthrown or not, like quarterbacks just need to throw the ball up and let their skill guys try to make plays sometimes. Like, does Stetson get credit just for that decision to let those guys go make a play, or is it, you know, purely whether he hits them and try it? Like, I had that thought earlier. What do you guys think?
Trent, you're the QB guru.
There's nothing guru about this, but I still think Stetson's main problem is he holds on the ball too long. On the pass to Jermaine Burton, it's like it took him forever to pass the ball, and then it is 10 yards short. And you know, Burton made a good play to come back on the ball, but it was severely underthrown. I just feel like he holds on to the ball. It's not an arm issue. It's not he's got plenty of arm. He's got, but it's just. He doesn't get it out soon enough, and I think that's the issue.
Issues wouldn't be apparent if he threw the ball on time. Basically, is what you're saying.
No, I think throwing the ball, underthrowing it is a lot better than overthrowing it. I'd say, because at least you give your guy a chance. But I just think if he would get it out on time, I think it's more of a timing issue than it is a arm strength issue. But I do think. He misses some throws, like what if you hit Kenny McIntosh in stride. If you hit some of these guys in stride, then we're talking about total different explosiveness. I mean, you're talking about explosive plays. Yeah, those are explosive plays, but they're also missed plays because you hit the guy. Yes, he gets 20 yards, but that should be a touchdown. He's open for a touchdown. And you're missing that opportunity to be even more explosive, to get those explosive touchdowns. So, I mean, it's I think every single one of Georgia's quarterbacks could complete some of these passes. It's not just, but I also think Stetson's making some plays with his legs. I think he's making some checks at the line, and it's hard to evaluate. It is because I think JT is a better passer, especially downfield. I think he gets the ball out quicker. I think he's just more decisive with the football, but he also loses the athletic ability. So,
before you sign off, Jed, 2 rushes for 10 yards for Stetson Bennett. So maybe his legs aren't that big of a deal. I don't know. Anyways,
I will say the one play, Trent, you were just talking about, like the second near touchdown for Burton, where Stetson, scrambled, kind of drifted to his right, and then threw back kind of across his body a little, and Jermaine got knocked down. The one, does JT Daniels make that play? Like, I don't know, but that's something I guess Stetson really feels comfortable doing. I guess throwing on the run and stuff like that.
I think I was talking about the first one.
Yeah. But I was just thinking you were talking about mobility and all that kind of stuff, and that play kind of popped up. So anyway, fellas, good show. Do good things. I'll see y'all
Jed,
later if I don't freeze to death.
Yeah, man, don't freeze to death. Rumors versus facts tomorrow, guys. Jed will be on there with Blaine Gilmer.
2 days.
It's Monday.
Monday. Whatever. Same thing. We got football tomorrow to watch NFL. Good luck.
Spoken like someone who doesn't watch our show.
See you, Jed.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, you watch the Falcons tomorrow, Paul?
Am I? Probably not. I don't even know who they're playing, to be honest with you. Saints, right?
Roddy, you turned 90 years old today?
I am 90. Feel like it. My liver feels like it. That's for damn sure. I don't want to hear Jed get on there and whine and bitch and moan about being out in the cold, so I ducked.
Oh, Roddy, me and you had a phone call one time when you said, my blood pressure or something like that. I can't be out in the cold. You were the one who said you can't deal with the cold weather to me.
Yeah,
dude, it's cold, man.
But I'm almost I'm almost 50. I'm old. I'm an old man. I can complain about the cold weather. Jed's like 13. He
and
doesn't
he's
shave yet. He doesn't get to complain.
If Jed's 13, then Ben's 12.
No. Paul had me at like 5 last week.
Yeah.
At least.
Hey, somebody did give you a shout out in the chat, Ben, and I want to give it to you because you don't get very many in the chat. Most of them are like, get this guy off the show, please don't bring him back. Somebody did give you credit for your prediction for the spread. So congratulations on that. I reamed you for saying it was going to be a 40-point spread, and you were pretty close. So congrats on that. I still have your list here. Oh, man, I just ripped off my desk there for you, Ben. Dang, that stinks. I still got your list here, Ben. Best DB class ever at UGA. All your guys signing. So Jaheim Singletary, Kamari Wilson, you said they were going to sign Ernest Green and flip either Bowie or Humphrey. So just want to let you know I still got this for you. I'm going to sign it and send it to you if it all comes to fruition. Around the league, though, Ohio State 26-17 over Nebraska, so they stay in the playoff hunt. Wake Forest goes down 58-55 to UNC. Not a lot of other big games going on. Notre Dame 17-3 right now. Penn State 7-6 over Maryland. Baylor 14-13 over TCU at the half. Oklahoma State 10-3 over West Virginia at the half. Halftime of Auburn, Texas A&M, folks, it's a shootout, 3-3. 3-3.
Wait. 3-3?
3-3. Trace.
I thought you can't win games with defense.
Looks like neither one of these teams wants to win the game right now. So Michigan State, old Mel Tucker right now, 21-0 with 11 seconds left, down to Purdue.
I mean, 21-14.
21-14. Yeah, whatever. Same thing.
There's only a couple touchdowns wrong.
14. I'm looking at all these scores right here. I'm trying to get back.
I can't read.
Okay. Cincinnati's only up 2 right now, 14-12 against Tulsa at halftime.
Georgia doesn't have to worry about them when it comes to the playoff. They're not going to put them in. And
then later on tonight, you've got the Alabama-LSU game. Alabama favored by 28.5 against LSU. That might be one of the bigger spreads in that game's history.
You missed Arkansas, Mississippi State. Arkansas is up 10-0.
Well, they aren't on my little list of games here I'm looking at.
Huh?
Do you think Bama covers that?
Would not shock me. They're
probably
they're starting to click on offense now. Michi is just tearing it up, and I don't know that LSU can stop them.
I think it'll be close. That's why I would not want to bet that. That's going to be a close one. In terms of the spread.
Where's the game at?
I think more money's been lost betting the Alabama LSU game than any game in SEC history. It's such a wild ride in that one. Nobody knows what the hell's going to happen, but I think Alabama's kind of rounding into form. They're kind of getting their offense back. Defense has been suspect. But, I mean, remember, Florida went toe-to-toe with Alabama and almost beat them, and then Georgia just knocked the brakes off of Florida. I'm not going to the transfer property. I'm just saying that's kind of what's happening. But I don't think that if Florida and Alabama played right now, you'd see the same thing. I think Alabama's getting better. And I was kind of hoping that Auburn would be able to go out and knock them off, and I think Georgia roll Auburn in the SEC championship game. But I think you're going to see Alabama in that SEC.
It's starting. Yeah,
you never know what Bo Nix you're going to get.
Hey, but you got to get the boat.
When was the last time Alabama won Jordan Hare? I wish we had Dave on. He would probably know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but you got
man's working the game.
You have to get Auburn past Texas A&M first to even make that a reality. So
well, here's the deal though: if Auburn beats Alabama, no matter what happens today, it would then be what would it be? It would be A&M. But I feel like A&M's got to play Ole Miss and LSU, and A&M is just a weird team. They could lose any week, but win.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be A&M 6-2. Their 2 losses. Who they lose to?
Bama would have 2 SEC losses.
It wouldn't matter.
A&M would have the tiebreaker.
And A&M would have a tiebreaker because they beat Bama. You're right. So there we go.
It could be Auburn. It could be Texas A&M. That's why I'm saying it's not a done deal. But I'm just looking at that first half stat. Texas A&M 0-6 on third down conversions against Auburn. 0 for 6.
And for you guys, last game of the night, really, if you want to watch Oregon, who you might see in the college football playoff, you don't have to stay up so late tonight. It's a 7:30 kick over there, Oregon versus Washington. So if you want to watch the Ducks.
Brutal. Those 2 teams hate each other.
The last time Alabama won in Auburn was 2015.
So it's been a little while.
So let's see, 17-19. Well, yeah, so they've lost 2 games in a row over there.
And, yep.
Chat's asking, Grey Goose asked, Kentucky versus Tennessee, who you got tonight?
I think Tennessee's terrible on defense. I think Kentucky will beat them with the run game.
Kentucky by touchdown.
Kentucky by touchdown. Roddy, who you got?
I'm sorry, I was reading Fred's question here about Mississippi State in the top 25, but Arkansas not.
Arkansas lost like 3 out of 4 games since they played Georgia.
Yeah, they've kind of fallen off ever since their miraculous top 10 matchup against Georgia. They haven't done so hot. Mississippi State, though, if you go back and look at Mississippi State and like their losses and stuff like that, they're a pretty good team. They just had some balls not go their way.
I wonder what Leach would have to say about it.
They have the most wins, I think, among the current top 25 is Mississippi State, but they also have some of the worst losses. Like they lost to Memphis, yet they beat 3 teams that are currently ranked, NC State and 2 other ones. So that's just a weird team to have to put in.
I've come to the conclusion that the ACC is just god-awful. I mean, like there's not one good team in the ACC.
You're right.
Not one.
This year, no.
Like every game you see, it's like 50 to – I mean, I was looking at Georgia Tech Miami on my phone earlier, and it was like 31-20. I don't know who won.
Why?
I was going to say, who won? Yeah, who won that? Let's see.
Miami.
I was trying to see if Manny Diaz was going to be fired after this game.
Oh, Miami won 33-30. Georgia Tech now falls to 3-6. 3-6 for the old trade school up there.
They're not going to be bowl eligible.
I think the Big 12 is god awful too, outside because you look at Baylor's losing to TCU is a terrible team. They just let go Gary Patterson.
Yeah, they just let go of Gary Patterson.
And I thought Baylor had a chance to beat Oklahoma. I mean, who knows how Oklahoma's playing? So I don't know.
Who will Gary Patterson? He'll be a head coach again.
Let's start the Gary Patterson LSU rumors right now.
Okay. Ooh, you think so? I don't know. That's funny you bring that up because Greg.
Well, the one Georgia fans want to know where Lanning's going.
Or does Kiffin go to LSU and maybe he takes over at Ole Miss?
Oh, no.
Where's Dan Lanning?
Dan Lanning would be a good candidate in the Mississippis.
I would say Nebraska or Virginia Tech if they come open would make the most sense. He's not getting one of the Texas jobs. Dan Lanning came open. If Michigan State came open, I don't see him taking one of the Texas jobs. They're not. They're already like these. Both Texas Tech and TCU said they want an offensive coach, so I don't see that.
He can do much better than those.
Dan Lanning is I think last year he was a high group of 5 coach, low power 5 coach. I think this year he's going to be the hottest name on the market. No?
He's going to be Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
I go with Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech is a shitstorm.
I don't think it's a shitstorm. I think you can win there. Their fan base is as good as any in college football.
No.
They have a great fan base. They are lights out. Love them. But he could do better. And again, I'm not saying he needs to. I mean, they're going to throw kitchen sink at him. He'll probably be a $6.5 million head coach wherever he goes. Somebody's going to throw a ton of money at him because of his pedigree and what he's done and the potential. And that he's going to come in at kind of the average side of the market, just like Kirby did. Kirby came in at the average side, $3 million, bumped it up. But I think that Dan Lanning is going to be one of the guys for the highest caliber job out there. I'm sure LSU would probably peek it over, see what he's doing, in any of the major.
You think USC would look out?
I mean, hell, he's already been offered a couple jobs, or at least, I don't remember Memphis went hard after him. So,
Kansas went after him.
Kansas, I mean,
I don't see USC or LSU, Paul. I do not see those two.
So
you have to be
Texas Tech needs offensive coach. I heard Mr. Dan,
Dan Lanning to be the offensive coordinator. What?
No, I'm talking about Mr. Dan down south.
Oh, Mullen. No, Mullen's got one more year. I think we decided next year, right? He's got one more year.
Well, eventually, is Miami going to fire Diaz because he's been winning the last 3 weeks?
Ooh, see now
that would be that for Dan Lanning to go down to Miami. That would be.
Here's the thing: they don't invest in their football program anymore. I feel like
they do not. No,
they don't even have their
horrible fan base. Come at me, Miami Twitter.
Oh, it is. Have you seen Hard Rock Stadium when they played Appalachian State?
Yeah,
That was embarrassing. Like it was only like 25% of the stands were filled up.
They're building a new stadium for them though on campus, aren't they? I want to say that like that's the new. They're talking about doing that.
Was it going to seat 17 people?
Here's a question: if Lanning goes, does Schumann go with him?
No, I don't think so.
Well, maybe be his defensive coordinator, but no.
Yeah.
Schumann knows this. Schumann will be. I mean, he's already the co-defensive coordinator here, so it would be a lateral move to go be defensive coordinator somewhere else. So Schumann just sticks around, and then all of a sudden, he's going to be a G5 coach or a low P5 coach. But if he stays here and is your DC for a couple of years or a year or two, and they keep putting out these number one defenses, then all of a sudden, Glenn Schumann is the hot name out there. So.
And they would probably just bump up Muschamp, right?
I was going to say, what do you do with Muschamp? You think he's
you
going
just bump him up?
Hey, you let Muschamp stay where he's at. He's doing a good job.
No, Muschamp will be a head coach somewhere.
So what we're saying is, guys, enjoy this because it sounds like the coaching turnover, and it's always good, right? At Alabama, I would guess to imagine that half of their fans don't know who half the coaches are each year until the first game of the season because their coaching turnover is so good because they win games and they get their coaches, taken from them or their guys take bigger jobs. Might be the year that this happens. I
mean, when you got guys like Buster Faulkner sitting as a analyst, you got a good staff. I mean, you got guys waiting in the wings. So
you had Jay Johnson as a analyst.
Yeah, and now he's did he go with?
He went with Mel Tucker.
Yeah, I thought he did.
And Jay Johnson, one of the best offensive minds I've ever seen. And that guy's he's killing it. But he was an analyst here. But I think you was it. Somebody pointed out to me that all of Nick Saban's 2017 coaches were gone by like 2020 or 2021 when 2020 when they won the title. Not every coach had moved on and been hired away, and he still won it, with new coaches. So, you're starting to look at Kirby Smart's tree. I mean, he could meet Mel Tucker in the playoffs. He's already coached against Sam Pittman. It wouldn't surprise me if in 2 years he's facing Dan Lanning across the field, or hell, Todd Monken across the field. Although Todd Monken's going to have multiple offers because he's not only going to get head coaching offers, he's going to get NFL offers too. So, and just like, but here's the thing: you reload. I mean,
then you don't
feel a die. Who'd heard of?
I don't see Monken being a head coach. I just don't see him being a head coach. At his age, I don't think he wants to recruit. I don't see teams offering him to be a head coach. NFL, OC,
they've
money. I see that.
Year, dude.
I think it's a better. I think he is. I see it's more likely that he gets an OC job in the NFL than he does to be a group of 5 head coach or something like that.
Hey, who will be available though next year if Lanning leaves? Right here, Trey Robertson, Todd Grantham. Bring him home.
Hey, you were banned from the show.
Or Willie Martinez.
Bring him home.
Do we have a ban button?
Bring home Todd Grantham.
Trent brought up Gary Patterson. Do you really think he gets a head coaching job right away? Does he become a defensive analyst for a year?
Gary Patterson took TCU to the freaking Rose Bowl and is like a 75% win percentage coach. Yeah, he just had a couple off years. Yeah, he's going to get a head coaching gig for sure.
Do you think this offseason or do you think he waits a year?
He might go like the Fox route and do a little analyst for a year and then step back into it. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the only thing with him. I think he might wait a year. Just speculating.
I didn't realize how dumb one of our commenters is.
Oh yeah, he doesn't like you at all, Roddy.
No, I don't mind that. It's just he's just stupid. I don't mind you not disliking me, but dude, don't be such a dumbass.
Yeah, he does not like you at all. We won't name names, but he does not like you.
Yeah, his name's Joe.
I'm just wondering, like,
Joe, hey, he's probably right, but I don't see. I don't think the Muschamp's going to be the DC. I think Muschamp's going to get better offers. I mean, he could stick around. He might do it for a year or two, but because he's got his family here, he's bought a house and such. But his son's on the team. But I can definitely see Will Muschamp has too much knowledge and is too good a recruiter to not be a head coach somewhere. So,
yeah,
maybe not SEC again, but that's a guy who's going to also have a ton of offers as well. And Joe butts back over. Gotta love it.
Oh, Joe, a bunch of people are watching on YouTube, man. You're watching on Facebook. Come over to YouTube and hang out with us. There's more comments. You're not talking to yourself.
Join the thousands over there.
Yeah. Overall, though, guys, like final thoughts, we'll kind of wrap it up here. We've got, let's say 10 minutes left. Looking ahead, 43-6 against Missouri. We kind of all saw this coming according to our score predictions. You've got Tennessee.
Oh, who's closest? I think Jed was, wasn't he?
Yeah, Jed was.
Yeah.
2 points off.
God.
He took his victory lap when you were gone.
Yeah, see, that's why I didn't want to be on with him. I didn't want to hear his crap.
I had 42. I had 42-0, but
I had 55-9. The 9 spot was almost there.
Damn, I had 52-0.
Playing off the field goal.
There's a lot of people sweating this game right there at the end when Georgia was in the red zone. They kicked the field goal instead, got to 37. A lot of people took Missouri with such a high spread, and they got lucky because Georgia almost covered that thing. Let's see here. Oh, hey, we're not going to miss this one, Omari. We're not going to miss this one, man. 9-0 versus Joe. I'll take 9-0. Hey, Omari, we appreciate you with your super chats, man. Guys, you can also do some super chats and make sure they get on the screen. We like to chat with you guys as much as possible. You can also call in like Penhurst did earlier and give us a call, or just keep talking to us over here in the chat. But we appreciate you, Amari. He's taking you 9-0. I'm not trying to put it up there again. There we go. Looking forward, though, guys. Tennessee spread. What's the spread?
22.5.
Trent motioned upwards. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be close to 26. I just you've seen the spreads. They've always been inflated with Georgia this year, and they've been close to being right on. I mean, every single one of them, you missed it by 1 or 2 points every single time. So I'd say it's closer to 26.
Roddy, what say you?
They're going to expect Georgia to win by at least 3 touchdowns and a field goal. They're not going to set it at 24, so I'll say 24.5.
Yeah, I think
it'll be something weird. It'll come out and be like 31, or 18.
24.5.
Every spread has surprised the hell out of me, so I don't know.
I'm going to go 27.5. I'm going to go 27.5 here. Depends on what they do against Kentucky tonight, but I'm going 27.5.
Well, I'm going lowest this week.
Yeah, you are going lowest this
week.
week. Yeah, and I think we're all close though. I think it's going to be in that range, 22 to 27, somewhere around there. And then after that, Charleston Southern and good old Georgia Tech.
Will that even be will there even be a spread for that?
Probably not. Probably not. Honestly, once they start getting up close to 40, they take the spreads off, and Georgia was still on with Missouri. So I doubt there will be a spread for that one. So final thoughts, guys, before we move on for the post-game overreaction show. Ben, we'll start with you.
I'll just say Georgia still, they're just a dominant team, and I think Missouri is terrible, and that's what the results showed today.
Trent.
I just continue to like. I know the offense started slow. I like to continue to like, even with the defense missing so many guys. I mean, they missed Breeny some today. I don't know what his injury was. He went out and Board came in. He had his knee wrapped. It looked like, but I just like how they continue to play with a chip on their shoulder. And as long as they're playing with that chip on their shoulder, it kind of takes you back to. And I think they're better than the 17, 18, whatever defense, but. They just seem to come out and play with a chip on their shoulder each and every week, that they're not going to get in their end zone. And as long as they're doing that, as long as they're playing with that intensity, they're going to be hard to beat. Just in these last 3 games, especially. We'll see when we get the SEC championship, but they're playing well, and the quarterback play. We can continue to talk about that for next month. So,
Roddy,
let's talk quarterbacks. No, hey, you got 2 good quarterbacks. Instead of worrying about who's the starter, who's all that, you got 2 good ones. And if they're both healthy, then you got 2 options. If you want to start JT and he's too rusty, or he's not, or you need to keep a defense honest, you can bring in Stetson, or vice versa. Which is not a situation you had before. Everyone's locked into this prison of 2 ideas where it can only be one or the other. Don't worry about it. Just you have options there. So, and again, you saw that beat Georgia in the title game, bringing in the second quarterback, a different quarterback. So maybe there's some sweet revenge there, some sweet karma. You get back to them. But stop worrying so much about the quarterbacks and enjoy the ride. You're 9-0. If you're 10-0 next week, you'll have beaten everybody. You'll have an undefeated SEC slate, and then you get to take on an easy team, and then your arch nemesis, or your arch rival, I should say, in Georgia Tech. I said it before going into the Florida game, I said if they limited Florida to 3 or less explosive plays, they'd finish the season undefeated. They shut down Florida pretty handily. It looks like they're going to go undefeated, and we can worry about the SEC title game. Hopefully another team loses, and you don't even have to worry about the SEC title game. You start talking about where you're going to be in the playoffs, So this is a great season. Stop pulling your hair out like I do, and enjoy it, because it's these are golden days, my friends, and we should treat them as such.
I think the biggest thing for me was that big stop at the 4th down. In the last, second team defense out there. I really think that is something that you can build on moving forward, momentum wise. Like I said, to open up the show, you would have loved to have seen the first stringers out there, but just as well, the second string guys got out there. They were able to do it and lock them down, keep them to 6 points. It's something to build on moving forward. Like Roddy said, enjoy it, guys. This is, you're not going to see a team like this in Athens, maybe ever. The defense is dominant. And just enjoy the defense. Whatever the quarterback is, the quarterback is. Whoever the quarterback is, the quarterback is. Keep it moving. You're 9-0. You're playing Tennessee. Watch Tennessee tonight. Scout them out. Make sure to subscribe to us on UGAsports.com's YouTube page. We're trying to get to 20,000 before the SEC championship game. Invite all your friends. We'd love to have them. And as always, the post-game overreaction show, the watch-long shows on Saturday, Rumors versus Facts, their UGA recruiting show on Mondays, all the content over on UGAsports.com. We've got Film Don't Lie. We've got PFF grades. We've got tons of stories from Anthony Dasher, more than I can even count, guys. So we appreciate all of your support. And like Roddy said, just enjoy it, man. You're 9-0. Have yourself an adult beverage tonight. Watch these other games, and we'll see you next week.
And what would Jock Peterson say?
We
might just be them.
We might just be. We might just be. All right, guys. We appreciate you so much. We'll catch you next week on the post-game overreaction show.